What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Cash It. I'm Howard Bender. Got Adam Ronis with me here. Hope you guys all had a fantastic Super Bowl. I hope all your bets cashed, all your props hit, all sorts of fun stuff. Maybe you even won some playoff contests at the FFPC or the WWFC or the CBGBs or whatever it is like that. Whatever you did for the playoffs, I hope it was a good time, and I hope it was successful to you. Adam, was it a successful Super Bowl for you?
Yes, the Eagles lost, so I was definitely happy about that. But yeah, overall, it was pretty good. It was a great game. I know a lot of people talked about that late penalty call, but the bottom line is the Chiefs controlled the second half. They had 4 drives in the second half, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and you could make a case that fourth one could have been a touchdown since McKinnon kneeled at the 1. The Eagles defense had no answers for the Chiefs offense. And that, to me, was one of the biggest factors. Was the Eagles led the NFL in sacks by far this year. Mahomes did not get sacked one time. So yes, I mean, it was technically a holding call. You can't just say, well, you can't call it there and then call it at other times. I think the Chiefs still would have won anyway. Jalen Hurts played great, though. That was just a phenomenal performance. I know some people might have questioned his ability, and he had a great year and played great in the Super Bowl. But Patrick Mahomes, is that guy, man. And I know we both picked the Chiefs before the game, and that was one of the big reasons why. It's like Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think the Eagles did have probably the better all-around team. But one of the advantages that we expected was in the trenches, and no sacks. I think I looked it up the other day. There was only one other game this year that the Eagles had no sacks, and it was against Dallas back early in the season when Cooper Rush was the quarterback. So their strength was nullified. And Mahomes, again, he does not have a lot of weapons on that offense, which makes him even that much better. I mean, he has Travis Kelce, and that's it. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, he's not that good anymore. Valdez-Scantling, no catches. I mean, it's just there's not a lot of weapons on the team. And Tony made 1 catch for a touchdown and then had the big punt return. And then Sky Moore with a touchdown catch, kind of similar plays where they were going in motion, stopped, cut, came back, and Eagles defenders weren't with them. So Chiefs, just a great performance there after being down 10 at the half. Remember, they only had the ball 8:06 in the first half. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, that was, I'll tell you what, it was really kind of funny because it also. I've never been so in tune and right about a game as I was. Was the score a little higher than I thought it was going to be? Yes. It was 38-35. I said it was going to be 27-24. And then because I was crediting the defenses there. But I even said it on the Football Diehards pre-Super Bowl show. I said, am I going to be nervous for Patrick Mahomes when the Chiefs look like garbage and they're down 14-10 at the end of the first half? No, I'm not going to worry about that because Andy Reid is amazing at in-game adjustments, amazing at them. And, he literally turned everything around in the second half. And like you said, the Eagles defense couldn't stop them, just could not stop them one bit. And that's a huge, huge thing, especially when everybody and their grandma who was picking the Eagles to win were all about that defense. And it's not even just the sacks and the pressures. It's about, how strong that secondary was. And it was about them, getting components to help stop the run. Isaiah Pacheco looked like a fucking beast in the second half when he was just powering through. So, I think, and as far as like the penalty goes and stuff like that, I mean, first of all, Eagles fans should have just shut the hell up when James Bradbury admitted that it was a holding call. I think that the whole thing got blown out of proportion because Greg Olson was an idiot on the broadcast. And he was just, everything that he was saying was all inflammatory about how you can't call it that, at this point in the game like that. And, you've missed calls throughout and now you're going to do this one here. And this game shouldn't be based on that. I agree with you. There's no guarantee that the Eagles would have won the game or tied the game. If McKinnon doesn't slide, right? If McKinnon doesn't slide at the 1, all right, he goes in for the touchdown. Okay. So what, you're giving the Eagles the ball with like a minute 20 to go in the game? as opposed to the 8 seconds that they gave him there. You still have to come back and score a fucking touchdown. I mean, I don't really like the whole playing for the field goal and things like that, but I get what Andy Reid was doing there, and just absolutely destroying the clock and pushing it that way. But I mean, they just to me, yeah, it wasn't. You can't sit there and say that the game tilted off of that one play, because if the Eagles came back and they tied the game, what was their defense suddenly going to stop Mahomes in overtime like that? Just, I mean, it completely fell apart for them. And, so, I mean, I had the whole arc of the game going well. And how about this? Are you ready for this one? Because this such a rarity. I did not miss a single bet I had on the Super Bowl. Bet, props, over, under, everything hit. Adam, I even netted plus money in Super Bowl squares. The most ridiculous. Oh, and I 3x my money in DFS. Like, I mean, I just fucking hit absolutely everywhere. It was a beautiful Super Bowl for me. And it's like, when you have one of those betting days and you're like, yeah, that's just not going to happen again like that. But it was absolutely fantastic, man. I was super pumped about it.
Yeah, no, it's always great when you hit that. My boxes did not come through, obviously. All luck there. Didn't happen this year.
All luck. No Super Bowl, so you didn't hit on any of that? How'd you do betting wise?
Pretty good. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. Had a boost on DraftKings for A.J. Brown and Kelce, that 50 yards or more. That hit. My Mahomes boost did not hit. 225 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He did not get 225. I mean, if I would have told you, hey, the Chiefs are going to score 38 points, Mahomes not going to throw for 225, you're like, how the fuck are they winning? So that one was crazy. I had Juju, longest reception under 17.5. I had McKinnon under 8.5 longest rushing yard. He had 4 carries, and that was a 3rd and 1. He lined up at fullback, and he gained 14 yards. I was like, that's a fucking bad beat, because I just figured McKinnon wasn't going to get many carries, and he hasn't had big runs all year. So that one sucked. And, and A.J. Brown over his receiving yards, Devontae Smith over his receiving yards. So overall, it was a pretty good Super Bowl, I would say.
Well, I certainly hope everybody out there was listening to you and I here on Cash It, and listening to you on Better Sports Network, me on Sirius XM. I was just giving out these plays the entire week. I wasn't, it wasn't even like I wasn't trying to mix it up or get crazy. I was like, A.J. Brown anytime touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
A.J. Brown.
I also had it on here, too. I'm pretty sure I gave it out on this pod. A.J. Brown, longest reception, over 25.5 yards.
You did say that here, I believe. I had his receiving yards and an anytime touchdown for him. I had Kenneth Gainwell over 1.5 receptions, over his 11.5 receiving yards. I was like, what the fuck is that? What else? Isaiah Pacheco over 60.5 rushing yards. Got that one in there as well. Obviously, like I said, bet the over, bet the Chiefs. Bet the Chiefs on the spread, bet the Chiefs on the money line. I mean, it was fucking delicious. And like I said, my DFS plays hit. So hope everybody out there listening in kind of tailed us on all of that and came out as well as we did. Now, it's really kind of funny now, Adam, because with the end of the Super Bowl, and you and I deal with this all the time. You and I, you're like, neck deep in the NBA right now anyway. But you and I are all in on baseball prep right now. You're doing draft champion stuff. I just, we got everything out for the Fantasy Alarm draft guide, which is free, by the way, people. Free. FantasyAlarm.com/MLB draft guide. Go ahead. Adam's rankings are up there. My rankings are up there. Do yourself a favor and take care of that. But now here we go. It's the hibernation of a lot of the football people out there. When we start seeing that, where some people do some decent coverage. We see a little bit of chatter on Twitter for football only people trying to stay relevant. They start doing some rookie talk in anticipation of the draft. I ended up taking part in. I'm doing 2 right now. One is still going on, which has been just the worst slow draft possible. And that one's like happening, but on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, we did a way too early, or for some people, it's not way too early. For normal people with multi-sport analysts, doing a best ball draft. Had the first pick overall, and I sent you the link to my team, and I'll tweet it out with the I'll tweet out the draft board with the when I tweet out the this podcast to everybody, so you will be able to check it out on social media as well. Curious as to your thoughts on things like my 1-1 for the 2023 season.
Yeah, so you took Jamar Chase. I would have went Justin Jefferson myself. Again, I love Chase, but I mean Jefferson is just by far the one in his offense, coming off a season with 184 targets, over 1,800 yards. So that's the way I would go. Again, I love Chase. Chase would be my second wide receiver. I mean, again, I haven't done my rankings,
right,
and I won't be doing them for a while for football as I'm, again, focused on my baseball prep. But I would go Jefferson. I mean, Chase still has to, unless you think T. Higgins is going to be traded, he still has to compete with T. Higgins there. So I would go Jefferson over Chase.
I took him because I do feel like they might have to trade T. Higgins. I mean, I think Higgins and Mixon are on their way out. Team's going to have some issues. They have to re-sign Joe Burrow, and the quarterback market is just absolutely insane. And they're going to have to re-sign Chase. I don't see them giving a long-term deal to Joe Burrow and locking him in there, and then doing like what the Titans did with AJ Brown or what the Vikings did with Stephon Diggs. I don't see them dropping Jamar Chase, trading him away so that they can draft a younger version of him. As this goes, I think that he and Burrow are a package deal. It's their third year together. And I'm curious as to see what happens with the Vikings. I mean, I was taking Justin Jefferson number 1 overall this year. In 2022, Jefferson was my 1-1, and I drafted as such. Coming into this season, I mean, am I relying on Kirk Cousins again? What's going to happen with the ground game, and what's going to happen with the game planning that they're going to do? Are they bringing back Adam Thielen? What's going to go on with their receiving core? I just defenses are just going to go hog wild on Jefferson. They're going to have to.
Well, what happened this past year?
No. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. I just what it is. I like to get the guy on the way up. Do you see? I mean, as much as you love Justin Jefferson, is he going to have another 1,800 yards? And how many touchdowns did he have this year?
8.
Well, all right. So I could see 8 touchdowns again, but 1,800 yards, 184 targets. That's a lot of targets, dude.
He had 167 the year before.
Right. And so 20 target increase there. He had a nice increase in receiving yards as well. You also have to kind of factor in the fact that what are the Vikings going to do? The Vikings know that they need to fix that defense. And part and parcel of the reason why they were throwing so heavily this year was because their defense was so shitty that they had to. And they got into all these crazy shootouts. So that's anyway. I mean, listen, that's my rationale here in February.
Yeah. A lot's going to change.
A lot's going to change. But I like the way I built this squad out there. Again, this is best ball for everybody. So Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel.
I don't like the Deebo pick there, man.
Why not?
Because the dude gets banged up, man. He has to compete with several of the guys on that offense. It's probably going to be Trey Lance at quarterback, so we don't know how that's going to look. You have Kittle, you have Ayuk, you have McCaffrey. I mean, you got him in the 4th round. I'd take Garrett Wilson over Deebo. So you got fortunate there. But how do you not take Devontae Smith over Deebo?
How did I not take Devonta Smith over Deebo? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't recall what I was thinking. I believe I was on air for most of it.
Okay.
So maybe that's just all I was doing that. But I mean, listen, I just like the talent of the player himself.
I do too.
I'll see what happens
You wouldn't take Waddle over Debo?
I don't know who's quarterback in the
Tua. Tua's probably.
Is he though? How many more concussions can that do?
And what, Trey Lance? We know how good he is.
No, I'm not saying that Trey Lance is the be all end all, but Debo does two things. He's a multifaceted, guy, and Shanahan likes using him out of the backfield as well. And we saw that with both McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell around, or not even Elijah Mitchell the second time, but even when Mitchell was in there for the early part of the playoffs.
Look, 2021 was an outlier. He averaged 18.2 yards per reception. This year was 11.3. He only had 2 receiving touchdowns. He had 3 on the ground, and he gets banged up all the time. And I can't take him there late second round. Smith is better, Waddle's better, and Garrett Wilson too. I mean, you got Garrett Wilson at a steal. I guess people are like, well, who's quarterbacking the Jets? I mean, we already saw that.
It's either Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And it really didn't matter in his rookie year. It should only get better regardless who's there. So I love the Garrett Wilson pick in round 4. I'd take him earlier.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I went 3-3 running backs, first 6 picks, running backs and wide receivers. I took ETN in the 3rd, Isaiah Pacheco in the 5th inning. I'm thinking baseball. In the 5th, and Tyler Algier in the 6th round there for me as well. So I did that with my top group there.
This is best ball, right?
It's best ball.
Okay.
That's why I took Calvin Ridley in the 7th. If this were like a regular, if this were a league that we were playing out for real, I mean, we're playing this out as best ball,
right? But
if this were a league that I had to manage my roster, I would not have taken Calvin Ridley that early. I took him there that early because even if he just pops up in the second part of the season, depending on what happens, he's allowed to apply for reinstatement. We'll see what happens with him. If they turn around, they're like, well, we're going to also tag, we'll give you a 6-week suspension here to start the year, and then you can come back. I'm perfectly happy taking Calvin Ridley and letting him sit on my bench in a best ball, format for weeks on end.
Right.
Yeah. Rashad Bateman, let's see what happens when he comes back. Lamar Jackson, let's hope he's healthy next year. Pat Freiermuth, I think in another year with Kenny Pickett should have a solid season. Deshaun Watson in his first full season in Cleveland as my other quarterback in a best ball. Dude, I dig it. And then I just kind of filled in the blanks with a bunch of rookies and hopefuls along the rest of the way. Sky Moore, Antonio Gibson, Rashee Rice, Greg Dulcich, Boutte, the kid out of where did Boutte go? Is he Texas A&M? I don't even remember.
I like the Dulcich pick.
Thank you.
That's a solid tight end combo where you didn't spend a lot of draft capital.
Yeah, I mean that's again it's the same MO every year. If you're not taking Kelsey, yeah, you could use a mid-round pick on a Hawkinson or a Goddard or those guys. But I think Freiermuth and Dulcich are 2 guys who just have good solid upside potential and will be the number 1 tight ends on their team, and their quarterbacks throw to the tight end. So I dig it. Again, way early, and we'll see what happens with everything like that. But overall, Adam, what's my draft grade?
B+.
B+, not even fucking A-.
Nah.
Oh, it's the Deebo Samuel pick. If it was deep,
then again, if you put Garrett Wilson round 2, Deebo round 4, although Deebo wouldn't last around 4, but yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, I think will be fine. I like the tight end combo. So yeah, no, it's pretty good.
All right. Hey, B+ ain't bad, people. B+ ain't bad. What was that, 88, 89 average in school? Come on.
Yeah.
So, listen, I mean, Adam and I can now kind of put the NFL on the back burner. And we'll splash in some stuff as news happens and things like that. Obviously, free agency is going to start up soon, and then we've got the NFL draft. But for now, we can thankfully put football in our rearview mirrors and look ahead. What do you want to do? Where do you want to look ahead to first, Adam? You want to talk NBA, or do you want to talk MLB?
Oh, we can do MLB.
MLB it is. Bing, bang, boom. Here we go. So I figure obviously there's a ton of shit to talk about here with regard to MLB, and we're going to have ample opportunity to kind of share the knowledge with people. I think one of the most important things, and we put this article in the draft guide every single year, is know your league rules before you draft. I think an equally important thing for this year, Adam, is to know the rules changes for MLB, because there's a bunch of things that are going on right now. Pitchers are limited to the number of throws over to first. They are on a pitch clock. Bases are bigger. No shift. The ghost runner still on second base for extra innings. I think that's kind of is that the bulk of it right there?
Yeah, those are the main things.
All right, so let's talk fantasy impact on that. Where do you want to begin?
I guess the shift, it's going to help some of the left-handed batters that have been really having hits taken away. A guy like Corey Seager comes to mind. He had a career low 245 average last year, although his expected batting average was 283. He's a career 297 hitter. So you would think that he's a guy that benefits. And a lot of the left-handed hitters who are shifted. You see it. If you watch games, you'll see like a lefty rope a line drive in a right field, and the second baseman is playing in shallow right, and it's an easy ground ball out. So that should help. For the stolen bases, I know everyone thinks it's going to go way up. You would think, it's tough to know. But the limited pickoff certainly is a factor. They should get a better jump, the bigger bases, that 10th of a second or whatever it is, you get there a little bit quicker. So I think everyone's anticipating, oh yeah, stolen bases way up. They probably should, but it's tough to know. Like, is it going to be the guys who have 10 to 15 steals that jump? Is it the guys up top that are just going to run wild now? So I think we're all speculating, but I would say that at least when it comes to draft, we put a premium on speed the last couple of years. I think you don't have to reach anymore. You would think that multiple players will steal more bases. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it right now. And again, some of the average jumps for those left-handed batters that were shifted a lot.
So I was looking at the shift I think is going to be great. And I agree with you. And it's not just left-handed hitters. It's going to be the righties also, the dead pull guys who are out there. It's any dead pull hitter that they put the shift on for, and not having that is going to be good for the lefties. I think what's even better is if there's a man on base and there's a limited amount of pickoff moves that they can do to keep the guy on base, that you've got a first baseman who's sitting there holding the guy, and then you've got the worry about the where's the second baseman playing. I think there's going to be like a wide open space on that side of the field for the lefty hitters. So that's definitely going to be good. It's I bumped up Kyle Schwarber even a little bit more because of that in my rankings. Imagine that, Trey Turner on first base dancing around, and there's fucking Schwarber sitting there at the plate. Dude's gonna have monster holes on the right side of the field. Monster. But so I took a look at I went to the NFBC and I took a look at all their ADP and kind of broke it down as far as like where guys are going right now, and who's worth the effort, who's not worth the effort, where you going. And I'll tell you what, for stolen bases, this is kind of based off of who stole 15 to 20 bags at a minimum last year, plus a couple of potential guys in there. But for the bulk of the stolen base guys out there, they're all going again still, rounds 1 through 5. Trey Turner, obviously, is a first-round guy. Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, Jose Ramirez, Kyle Tucker, Bobby Witt. Like those guys are all like first round guys still right now. Bo Bichette, Fernando Tatis, seeing those guys go in the second inning, a second round. Marcus Semien, Michael Harris, Cedric Mullins, Randy Arozarena, Lewis Robert, Jazz Chisholm, Adolis Garcia. So there you go. That's just like a rattling of names right there. All rounds 1 through 5. So if you are going to grab somebody for steals, you do still have to act early.
Yeah, you do. I mean, obviously, players who contribute in multiple categories are still highly desirable and are going to go early. So you definitely want to come away with some steals in the early rounds of your draft, just to at least set a foundation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a must. It's a definite must. Did you guys do that? I don't remember your draft champions team. How are you set for stolen bases in the early rounds?
Yeah, we had Acuna. We started another one. Same third pick again, man. So this one, we're in round 10 right now.
And where are you at with like your stolen bases early on?
Started with Julio Rodriguez. Acuna went 1 in this one, and the first draft got Acuna at 3. So when Acuna, Jose Ramirez, and went Julio Rodriguez. Then they had 3 pitchers in the next 4 rounds. So the speed right now is actually it's a little light. I mean, Corey Seager's not going to get any bags. Abreu's not going to get any bags. Tyler O'Neill will. He was hurt last year and still went 14-14. So if he could stay healthy, maybe get 15 to 20 bags there. And Nate Lowe, who could get 5 to 10. So it's okay right now, maybe a little light. But, at least not just completely barren,
Yeah. All right. Well, so you're in round 10, you said?
Yeah.
Well, let's go through. Just looking at ADP right now. All those names that I rattled off, rounds 1 through 5. Players I see going off the boards round 6 through 10. Tommy Edman, Starling Marte, Andres Jimenez, Byron Buxton, Jake McCarthy. So those are the guys who are going off there at that point. So now for you, looking at some of the names out there, I'm curious as to who interests you. These guys here, rounds 11 through 15. Yelich, Harrison Bader, Nico Horner, Ke'Bryan Hayes, and Tyro Estrada. I think you have Estrada funny. In the first one, right?
Estrada and Bader in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that one was pretty good. Nico Horner just went 4th pick of round 10. So Bader is still there. So might consider him. Outfield is very thin too. That's something you need to be conscious of, man. Like, I usually don't worry about position scarcity early, but man, I'll tell you, man, shortstop is just loaded. Like even taking Corey Seager in round 4, I'm like, damn, man, there's still some good guys on the board. Look at Willie Adames, Dansby Swanson, Wander Franco. These guys all go later on. Jeremy Pena, Carlos Correa. So shortstop's pretty deep. But at the same time, I don't want to pass on an elite player early just because of position. But if it is close and it's a tiebreaker, you want to take the outfielder, man, because you're talking leagues where you start 5, it starts to get thin. And you got a lot of guys who are platooning as you go on later in the draft. And I guess the other issue with outfield is you have a lot of guys who can't stay healthy. That's Eloy Jimenez. He had a great second half. I was looking at his stats, absolutely sick. 305 average, OPS of close to 900. But we know he has had trouble staying healthy. Byron Buxton, I mean, one time in his career, he's played more than 100 games. And it was like,
I will never touch Buxton, yet I will still go back to Eloy Jimenez. I don't know why.
Yeah, I guess because Buxton has been in the league longer and has shown he can't stay on the field, whereas Eloy still has that. Okay, well, he's still kind of young. I mean, the key is, though, I thought they would DH him, but I saw that he said he wants to play the outfield. So let me see their depth chart here. Because, that's the guy I don't want playing the outfield if I'm the White Sox. The guy just always gets hurt, man. Like, why do you want him in the outfield when you see him constantly getting banged up, ran into the wall? I mean, let's see. So they have him. Well, they have him as a DA. Okay, so they have Benintendi, Gavin Sheets in right. Yeah, I mean, that's ideally what I would want. I would want Eloy as the DH. So they have him projected to hit 4th. That would be phenomenal with Anderson, Benintendi, Robert in front of him. That would be ideal. So that's key. You want to see Eloy as the DH this year most of the time to keep him on the field. I mean, it doesn't guarantee it, but it's better than him running into walls, potential collision, or pulling a hamstring.
Yeah, we need Giancarlo Stanton to hit him up and tell him how delicious it is just being a DH. Can you imagine that? He's like, calls him up. He's like, Eloy, listen, just so you know, the fantasy community will love you just the same. Actually, even more if you're a DH instead of playing the outfield. Less risk. Don't you want to be loved by all the fantasy baseball dudes out there? Oh man! All right, so let me go through this list here even further, and let me ask you: round 16 through 20. Here are the stolen base guys. Who interests you the most? Whit Merrifield, Josh Rojas, Jorge Mateo, Ramon Laureano, Alex Verdugo, or Chris Morel?
Mateo, no, he could lose playing time. He's not a good hitter. Rojas, I'm concerned about losing playing time as well. I know he had 23 steals last year in 125 games, but just 9 home runs. They brought in Evan Longoria. I know he might not stay healthy either, but Longoria has been good when he's been on the field. But yes, he's older. I guess I'd take a shot with Laureano. I know it's been frustrating with him, but he is going to hit top of the lineup, even though it is a putrid lineup. Maybe he gets traded. He's had a lot of injuries as well, but I'd probably go with him.
Okay. And then here you go. Here are some of the hopefuls, rounds 21 and beyond. A couple of rookies in there. Jordan Walker from St. Louis, Ezequiel Tovar from Colorado, Garrett Mitchell in Milwaukee, Esteury Ruiz, who's in Oakland now, John Birdie and Dylan Moore. You round out your squad with any of those guys?
I took Tovar in my first DC. The issue is he going to start the year with the team? We've seen how the Rockies are with their young players, and they have not really done a good job developing players either. You know, we always get excited, playing at Coors Field, but a lot of these guys have not panned out. But, I mean, Tovar has hit at like every level. He's 21. I would think he starts the year with the team, but there's the risk of that. Jordan Walker, I mean, he's a guy that's just going to skyrocket up if we hear that he's going to make the club. So if you are doing a draft now and you can get him, especially in the draft Champions League, it makes sense because he could, if he has a good spring and we hear he's making a club, he'll just move way up. So now's the time to get him. I mean, Ruiz is going to run, but you know, it's such a bad team, man, and you're not going to get power. So to me, it comes down to roster construction with him.
Is he like your one category guy? Is he like your Billy Hamilton?
Yeah. And I don't like rostering those guys. I'd have to be absolutely so thin. And the batting average could be a problem. I mean, the counting stats are not going to be good, but I mean, we saw the speed. It's ridiculous. 25 steals and 37 games in AAA. So yeah. It's just, you're not going to get much else.
No, you're definitely not going to get much else. I try not to lean on those guys as well for that. I'd grab Ruiz if I'm like in a keeper league dynasty format. I mean, I'm sure he's not available in anything but a brand new startup dynasty format. But he's definitely a guy who I would invest in at that point. If you're talking about just for this season, I mean, yes, if I'm doing a draft champions and I'm going 50 deep, then yes, he's going to be on the radar. But if you're just talking about like a 12-team head-to-head points league, no, that's not unless you're getting like 5 points per stolen base. I don't see that.
That Oakland lineup is just so bad, man.
Who's going to be worse, Oakland or the Nationals?
I mean, the Oakland lineup is Tony Kemp, Ramon Laureano, Seth Brown, Jesus Aguilar, Jace Peterson, Shea Langoliers, J.J. Bleday, Nick Allen, and Esteury Ruiz. Their pitching staff, Paul Blackburn, James Caprillion, Drew Rucinski, Shintaro Fujinami, Ken Walchuk. I mean,
Walchuk?
Yeah.
Walchuk, that dude owes me money.
Where's that from? I don't get it.
Oh, Barnicky. He owes me money. That's from Stripes. But good identification there, Adam. At least you knew it was coming from a movie.
Yeah, I did.
So impressive. Look, everybody put it together here for a momentary golf clap for Adam Ronis.
The Nationals lineup: Lane Thomas, C.J. Abrams, Joey.
Did you say Lame Thomas?
Lane Thomas, C.J. Abrams, Joey Meneses, Kybert Ruiz, Corey Dickerson, Heimer Candelario, Luis Garcia, Dominic Smith, Victor Robles, and their staff: Josiah Gray, Patrick Corbin, Trevor Williams, Cade Cavalli, Mackenzie Gore. Geez, these are two bad teams. I'd say the Nationals are a little bit better. I mean, they do play in the NL East. They play in the NL East, though.
They play in the NL East. It sounds like they've got good power potential, but it also sounds like the team is going to bat 210.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably better than Oakland, but the division, I mean, Oakland does have to deal with the Astros. I think the Angels will be improved. Texas is improved. Obviously, you don't play as many division games this year either. You're playing every team in baseball, but yeah, those are two bad teams. I haven't looked at win totals. They have to be near the bottom. I would think Oakland is the lower. I haven't even looked at. Are there?
I don't even know if win totals are out yet. I haven't seen anything, but I'm looking at DK Sportsbook right now.
I'm looking at. Yeah, there are some.
Oh yeah, regular season wins. Here we go. Where
Nationals are 59.5 that I'm seeing here, and the A's are
60.5.
Okay, yeah. I guess the division. Yeah, they're bad, man. My God.
Damn, we should go. Let's go through this real quick. Let's see. Most regular season wins by any team. No, I don't give a shit about that. Diamondbacks 74.5, Braves 94.5, Orioles 76.5, Red Sox 77.5.
Yankees are 94.5, and so are the Mets.
Yeah. Cubs are at 77.5, White Sox 83.5. I'm looking to see if there's anything like really outlandish. Reds are 65.5, as are the Rockies. Guardians 86.5. We're gonna have to like dig through this.
I see 87.5 for them, but yeah, I mean, obviously depends on the book.
Right. What book are you looking at?
I see lines for Caesars and BetMGM and
okay.
Well, no. Why is FanDuel only showing the juice? Okay, but yeah, I mean, as always, shop around.
Always shop around. Absolutely. Do you do a lot of wins totals?
Not a ton, no.
I always find like one or two that I really, really like. And, I try to, you try to base it off of like who improved. Was it last year or the year before that they just seemed to be off on the Toronto Blue Jays? It was 2 years ago.
It was probably 2 years ago. I think last year they might have been top of the AL East. They're at 92.5 and 93.5. I see.
Phillies 88.5, Pirates 67, Padres 92.5. Huh. Well, I mean, nothing's like really sticking out that far from me yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Texas Rangers 82.5. How are they going to do that without DeGrom? Did you see he's hurt already?
All right. Well, yeah. Side soreness on Wednesday. Oh, if it was regular season, he'd be fine. It's cold and wet. Yeah. Sure.
Right. Every Met fan in the world I know that like saw that post on his soreness were just like, see, well, totally fine having him. Justin Verlander is going to win the Cy Young again.
I mean, look, I'm not rooting for him to fail, but I understand why the Mets didn't pay him. I mean, the guy has not been durable the last couple of years, so take a shorter contract with Verlander. Again, Verlander and Scherzer have rest too. They're older, so they're probably going to miss some time this year at some point. But paying DeGrom all that money with the way he has not been able to stay healthy just didn't make sense.
No, it definitely didn't make sense. Not at all. Not at all. But you know what? Then again, neither did $160 million for Brandon Nimmo either.
Yeah, I mean, money's not an issue for the Mets, though. They even had they had a Super Bowl commercial. How times have changed.
Dude, the Super Bowl commercial sucked.
Yeah, they usually do.
Again, I mean, no, they loaded up for like the first quarter. There are some really good ones, and everything is so as soon as you go through the rest of it, it blows, blows. All right, so yeah, there you go. Plus 50,000 for the A's to win it all this year.
Yeah, don't waste even a dollar.
Plus 40,000 for the Nats.
Don't waste even a dollar on that.
No, I'm definitely not. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm surprised that the Padres are at plus 1,100.
Because you think that's not a good value, or it is?
No, I think it's a great value. I love it. I was surprised. I was surprised that they weren't closer to like a plus 7. I see the Mets at plus 750. I'm surprised that the Padres aren't in that realm too.
They got to put the Mets there. They know people are going to bet on the Mets. But the Padres, yeah, I mean, they have a shot. The Dodgers obviously did not really do much. They'll still be very good. I think the Padres, the issue is they're top heavy at the rotation. They're top 3. They just added Michael Wacha, who's probably going to start. Then they have Nick Martinez and Seth Lugo, who might transition to the rotation. So I think that's the issue with them, is they're top heavy. But yeah, that lineup is absolutely loaded. And if they are aggressive as last year at the trade deadline, then yeah, I mean, obviously Tatis being healthy is a key. He's coming off multiple wrist injuries, the shoulder surgery, suspended the first 20 games. I think I don't like Xander Bogaerts this year for fantasy, but I think he's a good real life player. So you add him. Soto's got. So
talk to me here, because one of the things that Bowden was talking about with Bogaerts the other day on the show was that the run scored and the RBI, he's in a much better spot right now with the way the lineup is set up over there. He might not hit for as much power, but the RBI and the runs scored are definitely going to pick up better for him, he thinks. You don't agree?
I think the average is going to be a problem. I was looking at it, and at Fenway, his last 3 full seasons, it was like 297, 317, 318. And on the road, it was in the 270s. And San Diego is the 4th worst hitters park for right-handed batters. He doesn't hit for power. He had 15 home runs last year. 10 of the 15 were at Fenway. A lot of his StatCast numbers were down. I know he was playing through injury, so that might have been a factor. Getting that big contract, going to a new team the first year. And shortstop's a deep position. So for where he's being drafted, I'm not taking him. I mean, he's probably going to hit, I guess, cleanup right now. I guess, does Tatis lead off when he comes back?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think they'll hit, probably Soto 2 being OBP, Machado 3. I mean, whatever. He's going to hit the top half of the lineup. That's the other thing. Their lineup drops off, bro. I mean, you got from 6 down, Cruz, Carpenter, Nola, Grisham, Kim. I mean, that's kind of weak, man. I mean, Grisham had, a couple big games in the postseason against the Mets, but he was terrible most of the year. So that's the thing. They're kind of top heavy. I like their bullpen. Hader, Flores, Garcia. They got some power arms in the pen. But yeah, I mean, look, Bogaerts, I just don't see him running much. I don't see power. Yeah, the runs and RBI should be pretty good. And even though the average will hurt, I think he's not going to be like the hitter he was. He won't be a detriment in average. I just think the position's deep and he's being drafted on name.
That makes sense. I mean, we see that all the time. Guys get drafted based on name alone. Happens everywhere. Any teams that you look at, if you're looking at like, some futures here where you think there is really nice value? Toronto at plus 1,300, Mariners 1,700, Cardinals 1,900, Philly 1,700, Guardians 2,200.
Yeah, I haven't really dug in yet for that.
Okay, no problem. I don't want to pressure you, Adam. I want to go easy with you here. You're all focused on the NBA right now, aren't you?
No, I'm baseball, man. I've been digging in, man. Just doing, doing this draft. I have a labor auction coming up in a few weeks, and then 2 days later, tout. So yeah, I mean, it's with football ending, just been doing a lot of baseball prep and doing some research over the last couple of weeks. So felt like I was a little behind. I usually start earlier, but yeah, no, I'm getting in the mix, and doing these drafts are great.
Nice. Yeah, I start my Tout Wars draft next week. So I moved because I'm not coming back east. I moved out of AL only, and they put me into the draft and hold.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. I'm probably going to end up with a shitty pick in the draft because they do the KDS Kentucky Derby style of drafting, and they do you get to pick your spot based on where you finished last year, and whoever I replaced finished fourth to last in a 15-teamer. So I'm definitely not going to be excited about my draft position. I'll probably be stuck in the middle somewhere, which, again, not the end of the world kind of a thing, but I'm psyched to do it, man. I'm glad. I'm so bummed I can't do labor. My last hope of somebody switching out because they were going down for labor was going to get me into an online draft, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I know their mixed league draft is actually next week, Tuesday. So
yeah. It was a little bummer. But Steve Gardner assured me that he'd have my spot for me next season. So
he lied about that, but you can believe it.
Gardner definitely didn't lie about that. Are you kidding? I brought Gardner into the greatest fantasy league of his life.
Oh, a musical one with Fish?
Yeah, the Jam On Fantasy Football League. Oh my God. He's like sending texts out because he's like, he's at like the 9:30 club in DC for like a Disco Biscuit show. It's so funny. I love it. Absolutely love it. His wife says I created a little bit of a monster. I'm like, you know what? He said his son got him into Fish. It wasn't me. I just, once he opened that door, I grabbed him and pulled him in. Oh my God, that's the best. I've done shows with Gardner. He's such a great guy. He's such a great guy. One of my favorites in the industry. One of my absolute favorites. All right, so let's wrap things up here because I know you've got a show that you've got to do. My show's now an hour later than it was, so maybe I'll actually go and take a shower before I fly out to FSGA after the show tonight. So let's wrap things up with a little bit of NBA. So first and foremost, man, trade deadline, as crazy and chaotic as it was, when the dust settled, where were you at with it? Was it a positive one? We didn't record. We recorded before the trade deadline, right before the trade deadline.
Yeah, we did. I mean, obviously the Kevin Durant trade was monstrous and just changes a lot as far as futures and everything. Brooklyn looked like they could be a threat, and now Kyrie Irving gone, Durant gone. So they have a lot of good players, but not a threat. I mean, the Suns, that night that he was traded, because I think I saw some people said they put in some money on the Suns before, were plus 1,900 to win the title. They are now second favorite on DraftKings at plus 425, behind the Celtics at plus 310. So Durant has yet to play for them. He's still injured. I don't know if he'll be back right after the All-Star break, but the Suns were starting to play better anyway because they had gotten Chris Paul back. Devin Booker just came back. My one concern is they're thin for depth. They're going to have a great starting five, but their bench got really thin. So that's my concern there for them. And I don't know how they're plus 425 and the Bucks are plus 600. I like the Bucks to come out of the East. They beat the Celtics last night. Tuesday night in overtime. Celtics were shorthanded though. No Jason Tatum, no Jaylen Brown, so can't put much stock in it. But the Bucks have been playing really good basketball, won 11 in a row going into Wednesday, and they really haven't been fully healthy this year. So they also added Jay Crowder at the trade deadline, a really good veteran. So I like the Bucks there. The Suns are going to be dangerous. That West is pretty interesting because I would have told you Denver would probably be the team. I still think Denver is very good, man. The concern is Jamal Murray. He's missed several games now with this knee issue. He was really tearing it up. I don't know if they're being cautious here because they have a 5-game lead in the Western Conference. And they're like, you know what? The All-Star break's coming up. Let's be conservative here. They're great at home, a huge home court advantage, 26-4. And Jokic is playing as the MVP again. I know people are like, oh, 3 years in a row, we don't want to give it to him, but right now he's the guy. I mean,
isn't that seem to be like his MO, is that his second halves are just unreal?
He's great the whole year, and he just doesn't sit either. So he's the favorite right now on DraftKings at -170. Wow, Embiid's up to +380 at second, and Giannis at +700. I would sprinkle something on Giannis at +700. I mean, he's still one of the best players, and if Milwaukee finishes as the 1 seed and he doesn't sit out too much, but it's Jokic to lose at this point. I mean, the guy just does it all. He barely sits. He sat a couple games recently because of a hamstring issue, but he's like a triple-double threat every night. So they're still very good. And then, you've got the Warriors who right now are 500 and they're in the play-in tournament. Curry is out, but they're still going to be dangerous once they get in. I'm not buying Dallas. Kyrie Irving was a really good addition, but they took a major hit defensively, trading one of their best defenders, Dorian Finney-Smith. But yeah, I mean, I think people are going to be picking the Suns. Because you add Durant. I mean, let's not forget, the Suns have been one of the best teams in basketball the last 2 years. And now you add Kevin Durant with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. So, yeah, they're going to be awfully tough to beat. And that's why they're favored. So I do think it's kind of wide open, though. I only see 2 teams in the East, maybe Philly, maybe. I still think Milwaukee and Boston are better. So I'd be surprised. I'd actually be surprised in the East if we don't get the top 4 teams going to the semis. I think it's just looking at it. I don't see Brooklyn, Miami, Knicks, Hawks, Toronto. I just don't see any of those teams doing anything. So I think you'll get like the chalk in the East. The West is going to be wide open, man, because if you have Golden State's not going to be in the playing game, man, unless Curry misses extensive time. It's so bunched up because the Warriors are the 9th seed right now. But there are only 3.5 games out of the 3 seed. So it's really bunched up. So seeding is going to be pretty important for these teams here in the West. And that play-in tournament will be interesting too. I know the Lakers made moves to improve with the deadline, but they're still on the outside looking in. They're 2.5 games out. LeBron James has sat since breaking the all-time points record. It looks like we're recording here Wednesday afternoon. He's supposed to play Wednesday night. So we'll see about that. Could they be a threat? I guess, but I'm still not buying it. They improved, but still not good enough. So, yeah, the West is going to be really, really interesting. And the Pelicans looked like they had some momentum going, but Zion Williamson, another setback. He was good. He has this hamstring issue, and there was just a report. Yeah, he's going to miss multiple weeks now. It's a shame because that guy is so good. He can't stay healthy. And the Pelicans were staying afloat without him and Brandon Ingram, but they've fallen back to the pack now. They're really struggling. I think they had like a 10-game losing streak at one point, and they've lost 6 out of the last 10. So I thought they were dangerous with Zion Williamson, but he can't stay on the floor.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. He's never been able to stay on the floor, since he was drafted. So kind of a bummer. Anybody you're eyeballing for props this weekend? Obviously, your article drops on Pickswise.com.
No, it does not. The All-Star break. So
it's the All-Star break this week.
Thursday is the last day of games. There are 3 games on Thursday, and then there's nothing until the following Thursday. So 6 days. Now,
wow.
I mean, look, there's the 3-point shooting contest on Saturday. So that's something to look at. The dunk contest is just absolutely atrocious. No one wants to be in it anymore. I mean, I know you probably know none of the participants.
Is Kenny Skywalker in it?
No. And I'm not calling you out because I think most
No. I definitely don't. Tell me who it is, and let's see. Tell me who's in it, and I'll tell you if I know what team they're on.
All right, Kenyon Martin Jr.
Kenyon Martin Jr. I've heard of him. Didn't he play? Junior. Do I know Kenyon Martin from like the University of Cincinnati? Is that who I know?
And he played for the Nets.
For the Nets, yeah. So this is his kid?
Yep.
Grizzlies.
No, Houston.
Okay. Oh, they're terrible. And he's in the dunk contest? Okay. Mm-hmm. Throwing Houston a bone. Who's next?
Jericho Sims.
Oh, everybody knows Jericho Sims. He's the cousin of Phil Sims, the NFL quarterback. and he plays for the Trailblazers.
Nope, the Knicks.
The Knicks?
Yeah.
Shit. I don't even know any of the Knicks players. Okay, who's next?
Trey Murphy.
Oh, well, wait. Is it Trey or is it Trae? How does he play?
Trey.
Trey?
Mm-hmm.
Murphy? Pacers?
Nope, Pelicans.
Pelicans. I got the right first letter, though, so I'm improving.
All right.
I'm gonna nail one of these.
No chance you know who this guy is. I think there's even diehard NBA fans that don't know who he is.
Who is it?
Mac McClung.
Mac McClung for the Spurs?
Nope, Sixers.
That
is that might be the worst slam dunk contest participants I've ever seen in my life. It's so bad, man.
That's it? Those are the guys who are in it?
Mm-hmm. The 3-point contest I love. I think this one's going to be fun. You've got Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, who won it a couple years ago, and I had money on him that year.
Jeez, this sounds like a James Grande DFS lineup already.
Kevin Herter, my man, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, who's had a great year, and the game's in Utah. He's from the Jazz. Anthony Simons. Oh, wait a second. Simons might be out of this. That's right. He's going for an MRI. He got hurt on Tuesday night. Okay. That's because I think he would have a shot to win. And Jason Tatum. So this is fun. This is a really good one. I will sprinkle some money. I have to look at the odds. I'm actually writing something up on this transactional content. So my byline's not on it. but we
can't tell you where it is.
Yeah. And I'll talk about it on the probably on the Friday show with John and Pemba, who will be with me on Better Sports Network. So we'll talk about this contest. But yeah, I love the 3-point shooting contest. I think it's fun. Then they got the skills competition. So I think Saturday night will be fun. I mean, I'm not betting on the All-Star game, man. Just like, it's no defense, and I'll probably watch it. I don't think nothing else is going on Sunday night, so I'll probably watch that. So Saturday we got All-Star Saturday night, skills challenge, 3-point contest, slam dunk. And then you got the All-Star game Sunday, and then they're off for 3 days. So, and it gives me an opportunity to regroup. Dude, the other night, I had 4 parlays in the NBA. I lost all of them by 1 leg. And I know people are like, wait a second, you preach not to play a lot of parlays.
Play the parlays.
Let me say, 2 of them were free bets. 1 was a risk-free bet. And the other one was a double-double that we cooked up on the Better Sports Network on the playbook, Fensty and I. And Joel Embiid, 6 fucking rebounds against the Rockets, bro. How the fuck you get 6 rebounds against the Rockets? That's the only leg that missed 6 rebounds. And he didn't play the fourth quarter. He played 31 minutes. They were up big. So, and then I had an 8-leg parlay for the Golden State Wizards game. Jordan Poole picks up 3 fouls in the fucking first half, plays 11 minutes, scores, let me see, was it 14 points? He had 3 points in the first half. He had 14 points. Here's his other games: 28, 29, 38, 21. The one fucking night I need 20 points, this piece of crap plays 30 minutes and scores 14 when the Warriors scored 135.
So I had a free thing. Apparently, so when I won in DFS for the Super Bowl, I won a free ticket into a contest for NBA, and I played it, and I had Mpemba help me out with a lineup, and Poole was in the lineup that night, and that was the night that it happened to me. Fucking brutal.
Yeah. But no, I mean, my singular bets have been pretty good lately. But yeah, those parlays, I just, I think I went a little wild because I'm like, you know what? There's going to be no days to bet. It's coming up. And actually Tuesday, I only did 1 bet. I didn't like the slate, but I'll bounce back for Wednesday, and then it's 3 games Thursday, and then little break. I'll do the 3-point shooting contest. I'll probably sprinkle money on 2 or 3 guys that I like, and hopefully 1 hits. And then just do a ton of fantasy baseball prep over this little break here.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll call it a day here. When we come back next week, we don't have to talk any football at all.
Real quick, was that the longest I went without cursing on a show? That was the first time I cursed during the show, right?
Oh, I don't know. I'm numb to it now. I don't even hear it anymore.
So if people bet on it, you guys got fucked. Because it was like an hour.
Who knew to take the fucking over? Well, congratulations, Adam. Listen, you're top shelf all over.
You know why though?
Here.
Because we're recording earlier in the day. I just don't have the same energy in the afternoon, bro. We usually record, 7 p.m. Eastern. I just have more energy then. I just don't have as much energy in the afternoon.
Well, you also haven't been burned by a prop by the time we're recording either.
Yeah, like we're recording. I'm like, fuck, he's already out with 2 fouls.
So listen, folks, Adam's going to be on Better Sports Network with John and Pemba for the next 2 days, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. So you want to tune into that. And then I'm off on Thursday from Fantasy Alarm Show, but I'll be back on Friday. I'll be at the FSGA conference for that. And then starting next week, Adam, you've got a live betting show on SiriusXM, you and Fensty. When is that?
Starts Monday. That's February 20th, I believe. Yeah. From 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. The first week, though, it will only be Monday and Thursday. Because I guess they have a labor draft on Tuesday and the FSG Awards Wednesday. But going forward, it'll be Monday through Thursday, some days 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, some 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern.
All right, then. Sounds delicious. That's going to do it for us here at Cash It. We appreciate you all tuning in, liking, subscribing, sharing it with your friends, all sorts of fun stuff like that. We'll be back next week. So, for Adam Ronis, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.